All right. The Xbox 2 is live. Welcome to the show on a Friday instead of a Wednesday. This is both mine and Jez's fault. I couldn't make it Wednesday. Jez couldn't make it Thursday. So here we are on Friday. We got to do the show weekly. What's going on, everybody? Hope everybody's having a fantastic start to the weekend. I'm Randall Thor, one of the hosts of the Xbox 2 podcast. And as always, I'm with Jez Corden of Windows Central. What's going on, buddy?
Hey man, pretty good, rocking and rolling. Got a lot of coffee in me. Still pretty tired, but I got coffee this time, so good. I'm also exhausted. I was working out, Rand. I've been working out. I'm gonna get buff.
Ooh, yeah.
I probably won't succeed, but I'm gonna try. So that's the important thing, right? That's all that matters. Right?
Yeah, you got to you got to put the effort in. You got to give it your best.
I gotta give it my best.
Just like you give it your best in the articles that you write, like the one you wrote this past couple days ago. In fact, it was yesterday, right?
Yeah, well, actually, I've been writing that for a couple of weeks, but it went live yesterday. Yes.
And you said that Windows Central had its best traffic ever for last week or this week or something?
Yeah, best traffic ever, bigger than the Windows Phone days and all that stuff. So pretty good. Although that's nothing to do with me, or very little of it's to do with me. It's because Windows 10 had a big update this week, the Windows 10 April update, and we had a lot of coverage on that. So yeah,
well, that's cool.
It was a really good week. But my article did pretty well considering it got buried by all the April stuff. So that's pretty cool. I was really worried about that article because I was worried like people were going to be mad, and some people were mad, but those are the people who didn't actually read it. Most people agreed with it, and
I have that
reached
same
out
problem too, Jazz. I have people that don't watch the videos to their full conclusion, and they just kind of judge it off of what the title is, or maybe the first 20 seconds. It's a little interesting, right? You know, people get upset and they don't read the entire thing. It's kind of a interesting conundrum.
Yeah, well, it's kind of annoying. It's like, what do you do? Do you like leave out some of the details so it's as short as possible to make sure people actually get the point? But then if you're making it shorter so people can get through it easier, you're missing out the important details. So what do you do, Rand? What do you do?
I don't know. But anyways,
you could just like have a big clickbait title and people get used to like not expecting anything from the title. That's probably the best thing to do.
Actually, I read the whole article. I thought it was good. So
you did?
Yeah, of course. I mean, why wouldn't you read it? I mean, it's about Xbox exclusives, of course. You know, plus Jez trying to drop that insider info in the article. I mean, you got to know what's going on. Jez is your man. So
yeah, there's some of the stuff that's come out after. Obviously, Terry Myerson departed, or is in the process of departing. I don't know if he's actually left yet. I think he has left now. But he's since his departure, it's interesting some of the things I've been hearing and stuff like that, and particularly about the budgets, right? Because that's the main thing. Games cost money. Games cost a lot of money.
No, they don't.
No,
they grow on trees, dude. Pick them off. They pick them off the trees.
Oh dear.
But yeah, we'll be talking about that. So I figured I'd run down the topics that we have currently planned, and who knows what else we'll be talking about. But definitely talking about. You can see it in the title. Does Xbox need AAA exclusives right now? Because it ties into Jez's article about how Xbox can play the long game with exclusives, but not forever. And it's pretty interesting because you made a couple, I would say, controversial tweets recently.
All right, and that's how I roll, man.
Yeah, that's how you roll. And me and you we had some disagreements in the DMs about what you were saying.
Yeah,
which we'll talk about. We're also going to talk about because just as important to Jez, because Jez even came out and be like, "You don't like State of Decay 2? What's wrong with you, Rand?" And I'm like, "Hold on one second. Don't you jump out on the hate train now."
Specifically about the co-op.
Yeah,
hate State of Decay all you want.
No, I don't though. That's the thing. So
I'm just saying to anyone, hate it all you want, but I just think we'll talk about it in a minute.
Yeah,
I disagree on the co-op issue.
So we'll be talking about the whole State of Decay 2 situation. Jez will enlighten us about what it truly means, and he can call me an idiot for my overreaction or whatever.
I would never do such a thing.
Yeah. So we'll talk about that. We'll also talk about a new rumor hit today by a website talking about Nier Automata making its way to Xbox, and if that potentially is true. Emil Van Dale on Twitter and also here on in chat says he wants to know about it because it would be the 5th major Sony exclusive turning out to be a PR lie. And then and then I said I laughed at the idea of like the biased media covering for it or something. So we will talk about that later on, as well as the God of War sales as well, like 3 days, 3 million. I mean, that's pretty much. It is a lot. That's a lot. That's a lot of beards being sold, right?
It's almost as if single player exclusives are really important. It's almost as if that's the thing.
That is true. So we'll talk about all that stuff and a whole bunch of other things. Right after we talk about what we'll be playing, and I'm gonna ask Jez, let me think really hard here. Let me try to guess what you've been playing this week. Is it Monster Hunter World by chance?
No,
it's not. Okay, so
I haven't played Monster Hunter World that much this week. I have played it a bit, but the Kulve Taroth event is over, so I couldn't be bothered to go back to farming Tempered. So I'm waiting for the next update before I get fully back into it, I think. But I've been playing The Division this week.
Ooh.
I started over. I deleted my level 30 endgame character because I played in The Division's endgame at launch.
You cut out there for a second. Sorry.
Oh, sorry. I played in The Division's endgame at launch, and then I decided, because everyone says it's a lot better now, and I hated the endgame back in the day, I thought I would start over and see what The Division's like now. And we've been playing that this week, me and Roby on streams and having fun. And yeah, hit level 12. Interested to get to the end game, see what the survival mode is all about, and all that other stuff, and the incursions that I haven't done, and make use of that season pass that I bought and never actually used. So yeah, that's what I've been playing. Oh, and also the Darkest Dungeon, because I absolutely love this indie game. You know the Darkest Dungeon, right?
Yeah. I played the Darkest Dungeon. It's pretty cool. It's got some cool art. It's got a great voiceover, and it's pretty hard. It's pretty damn hard.
It is hard.
Yeah,
I get mad at it. It's the RNG. It's the ultimate RNG screwing you over game. You know, it's yeah. I like it though. I like it a lot. What have you been playing, buddy?
God of War again.
That's that? I've never heard of that game.
Yeah. I actually got the platinum for the game. Oh, no. My first platinum on PlayStation. Most likely going to be my last platinum on PlayStation.
Why?
Why? Because I just don't care about trophies. Period.
Why not?
Because they're not achievements.
What?
You know, achievements are better. Who cares? Like,
why are they better?
Because they're better. They're better. I don't need. Look.
I tell you something. I like the idea of having a platinum trophy.
Oh no, so do I. So do I.
1,000. I think that's really cool.
I would love it if Microsoft would make a platinum like feature for the Xbox. It would be amazing. I've asked Ybarra and Phil for that since I've known them. I'm like, hey, wouldn't it be cool if this happened? And I joke when I say achievements are better than trophies because I said that jokingly in my God of War video, and people
are gonna hate you know.
Yeah, people are like, what do you mean? Like, I have 1 million gamer score and like 40,000 achievements. What do you think I think is better? You know? But I really do enjoy the platinum thing. Hopefully, maybe, because Microsoft is always adding rare achievements, adding 360 gamer score to the gamer score leaderboard. It'd be cool if they just be like, here's all the games you completed, and something like that happened. That'd be really great. But I played that, finished it, did all like the extra optional content. That was, outside of the main story, like the Valkyrie boss fights, which are all harder than the main story stuff. I did all those. The trial arena in Muspelheim, the Niflheim stuff. So yeah, there's like end game content, and I finished all that stuff, got all the collectibles, and got my platinum. So I loved
It's crazy how little I know what you're talking about right
I know. Shout out to the Infinity Hand for the super chat. Thanks for the support. Red Dead Redemption 2, Omi Wami Mushunduru, God of War Nani. I have no idea what that means. So
It means Red Dead's gonna be cool, maybe.
yeah. And Samuel Tolbert, sorry, Sam. The final Valkyrie is absurd. Holy crap. That final Valkyrie is so much harder than anything else in that
Oh
game.
my god, no spoilers, please. I'm gonna play it one day.
Yeah, well, you'll forget about it by the time it does come. But that's what I played. I think I played a couple more levels in Doom. Almost finished with that game. Love it. I'll be putting out a review soon because Tim Dog, Beastfire Tim Dog, the one and only, he wanted me to do a video for it, so I will. And of course, you know, the shame of my life right now, PUBG.
Still,
I still, man, yeah. So I played on the test server.
Exclusives don't matter, Rand.
I played on the test server though. Okay, so the test server kind of brought me back because they put the desert map, Miramar, into the test server, and they had all these new optimizations. So I was like, okay, cool, new map. I'm gonna go play it. And it was kind of cool. Like I admit like that.
Well, I remember this when they launched that on PC, and everyone was saying it was more optimized on PC too. Isn't it just a case of they basically made a map that their engine could handle instead of just making a map like they did the first time round? I don't know.
I don't know. Like this one just runs better. You know, maybe it's just the stuff, the optimizations they use in the test server. But it was cool getting to play the other map. It plays differently than the original, and it was it's kind of interesting that they had a test server for this map. They literally have a game preview for a game preview game. I mean, when you think about it,
you got to test things, right?
I mean, when you think about it, like what other game does that? Like the game's already in game preview being built, you know, as is not the whole point of game preview early access, right?
Well, let's be honest. The whole idea of game preview is just a marketing thing now, where it's like they can sell you a game that isn't finished and get away with it.
Yeah. So then they had a server that was testing out. It just is, you know, magic, and my buddies were just making fun of that fact, like game preview for a game preview game, you know. So I actually can't wait to play that map again because it was a lot of fun. But in the meantime, what's on my plate coming up? I want to play Heavy Rain and Beyond Two Souls before Detroit comes out. So we have a couple weeks.
I hated Heavy Rain so much. It was one of the only PS3 games I played.
I didn't play it.
Fun stuff.
So I don't really know like what happens in the game. I also want to play Ratchet and Clank because my buddy Gopher's been playing Ratchet and Clank and he's been talking it up and saying it's really good. And also Uncharted Lost Legacy. I have a whole bunch of games, like whether it's PlayStation or Xbox. And I still have my stuff on my Switch I need to get to, but there's always stuff to play.
Yeah, I got PC games to play at the minute. I want to play Frostpunk on PC, which is like a survival game where you survive in a post-apocalyptic ice wasteland, basically. Like instead of a nuclear wasteland, it's a frozen, wintry wasteland. So that's been getting pretty good reviews. And also BattleTech, which is a turn-based mech game set in the Mech Warrior universe. So I'll play that as well.
So there's always a bunch of stuff to play, including like new stuff. You know, I mean, there's indie games that come out. I just really haven't been interested in too many of them. But when I do, you know, I will play them and do the Rans in the Spotlight. It's kind of the Rans in the Spotlight's kind of taking a break because of God of War, you know, and a few other games I've been playing. But yeah. So you know what? Let's roll the Nier Automata.
Yeah, near it up.
So Fax Machine, hold on, I gotta address this really fast. Fax Machine said, "Why is Ram playing all these trash indies on Xbox while he has all these great PS4 exclusives?" I tell you why, because he's addicted to achievements. You know what? You're wrong. Because my achievement score has drastically gone down ever since I hit the million. I don't average nearly as much as I used to. And that's because I do play on PlayStation and I play on Xbox. I tend to play whatever I want. There are good indie games, there are great indie games. And you know what? Those games on PlayStation, they're not going anywhere. They're going to be there no matter when. So if I play Ratchet and Clank 3 months from now, it's still going to be good, right? Like there's no expiration date on a game on how good a game is, right? Like I can play it 3 months from now. Do I need to play them all in a row? Some people, Jazz, here's the thing. Some people, they want you to like just sell all your Xbox stuff and only play on PlayStation.
They're not gamers. They're fanboys. People like that are just fanboys, and it's so sad because they're often grown men. It's like, don't you guys have jobs or more like important things to worry about than what people do with their free time? So sad.
I mean, it's not enough that I have a PlayStation. I buy all the games I want to play on PlayStation, and I play them when I want to play them. It's like I have to play them like in a row. I don't get it. I don't get that. Or this is the other big one I get all the time. Why don't you play all your multiplats on PlayStation? And it's like, why would I? Like, I don't like. Does it matter where I play the multiplats? Like, can I just choose to play them wherever I have 3 systems? I'll play it wherever I want to damn well play it, and that's on the Xbox One. I don't get that. It's like I have a PlayStation strictly for the exclusives. That's what it's there for.
Yeah.
And that's what I use it for. And I love it
man.
when God of War came out. Remember when I was telling you how much I love that game in DMs? I'm like, holy fucking shit. Yes. This game is amazing, right? And Detroit's coming out next month. I'll be playing it day one. Spider-Man's coming out in September. I'll be playing it day one. And then there's other games in between. I just bought Persona 5. Gopher has been...
I'm shocked that you bought Persona 5.
I know, so was I. Gopher's been hyping up Yakuza to me, so I bought Yakuza Kiwami, and he wants me to play Yakuza 0. I've never had any intentions of ever playing a Yakuza game, but here I am. I might be buying Yakuza 0 soon enough to maybe see if I like the series. You know, I don't know, whatever. It is what it is.
Fanboy's gonna fanboy, man. There's nothing you can do about it.
Yeah. And the funny thing is I have a PC, which can probably run all these games better, but I don't even care. So whatever.
I only use PC for exclusives, and people laugh at me because of that.
I use PC to make videos.
Yeah. Why wouldn't you play it on PC when it's got better graphics? Well, first of all, my GTX 1060 laptop is not more powerful than the Xbox One X. And second of all, I just like using my PC for PC things, man. Like video editing and stuff.
Yeah.
But fanboys are just they'll never change. They'll always be fanboys, and there's nothing you can do about it. That's the truth, man.
Yeah, I mean that's why, I will be playing whatever I want to play when I want to play it. It's my life, guys. Come on. Ugh. Anyways, so I figured, you know what? Let's talk about Nier Automata. Let's talk about that PlayStation exclusive. Rumor came out today from a very reputable and very big website in France.
Yeah.
Ja Video or Ju Video. I don't even know how you would say it. But they came out and said they had an anonymous source saying that Nier Automata is making its way to the Xbox. Would be like a Game of the Year edition and stuff, right? Is that pretty much what it said, Jez?
You know what? I haven't read the article specifically, because it's pretty late here and I was getting ready for podcast and I was having dinner and stuff. I sent it to our newsroom to handle, but I did speak to the chap who wrote the article, and he like explained the sourcing and stuff like that, and I was, I thought, yeah, this seems pretty legit, which is why we're going to cover the rumor, and also I've heard this rumor before. It's not the first time I've heard that Nier would come to Xbox, and although I had no real evidence for it, and I still don't. So I sort of not published it because no evidence, which is evidence is kind of important for that sort of thing. I think, because I'm not a YouTuber. Sorry, Ryan.
Hey.
Yeah. I think it could be true. It certainly makes sense. Square Enix wants to maximize profits on a game they, you know, co-funded or whatever, and it's probably run its course on PlayStation now. I mean, why wouldn't it come to Xbox? You know,
Well, some
um,
people would say the developer, Platinum Games, maybe not be on the best of terms with Microsoft after Scalebound was canceled and, their studio put in jeopardy. I mean, they did come out and say that Nier saved them, after the success of Nier saved the studio.
well, exactly. I mean, if Nier saved them, quote unquote, then they can't afford to pass up the extra royalties. You know, I would have thought. I don't know.
So, I
Would
mean,
pride get in the way of money in that situation? I don't think so.
well, I mean, okay, it was never touted as a PlayStation exclusive, right? It was always kind of just
They
it's on PlayStation, it's on PC.
Yeah.
I mean, there was no box markings like only on PlayStation like they normally do or whatever. Similar to like Crash and stuff.
Yeah.
Similar to No Man's Sky.
They
So
they emphasized. I'm sure they emphasized in interviews. They were saying like it's not exclusive, but we
they don't have
just
the time or the money to
don't have the time or the money, or they didn't believe that there was a market for it on Xbox and stuff. Maybe they're right. Maybe there isn't a huge market for it on Xbox, but um, there comes a point where it stops selling on PlayStation, where it becomes like worth the port, and porting from PC, which they've already done the PC version, apparently is supposedly easy, so or easier, so to speak. So I'd like to believe that it's true. I already own Nier on PC. I never got around to playing it. It's one of my backlog games, backlog of shame.
There's always a game that I
So
did want to play on the PlayStation. I do own it on the PlayStation. I just haven't gotten around to play it. Um,
would you
when
get it on an Xbox, even if you've got it on PlayStation? Because the cheaper.
Yeah, yeah, I would get it on PlayStation. I would get it on the Xbox.
Oh my God,
Here's
you're
the
gonna
thing.
get
That's
ahead.
where I prefer to play all my games. Like, if I had a choice, I'd play everything on Xbox. Why? Uh, Far superior controller for starters. Duh. You know, the Xbox One controller is like an actual controller compared to the Fisher Price toy that is the DS4.
Oh my
Um,
God, you're gonna get some hype for that, but
I don't care. I've said this repeatedly even after I got the PlayStation. I think the DS4, while better than the DS3, is still nowhere near as good as the Xbox One controller. Right?
I can't comment. I've never used it, but yeah, it's been a while since I've held a PlayStation controller.
And he says he's not a fanboy. Did I say I wasn't a fanboy?
See, I told you.
Like what? I have my preference. I've stated this repeatedly.
You're not
Time
allowed to
and
have a
again.
preference, Ryan.
I guess not. I guess not. Dude, I have big hands. PlayStation controller just doesn't fit right. I prefer asymmetrical sticks, the right way to do it. Thank God Nintendo learned with the Pro controller. So yeah, I would play Nier Automata, not because I would want 4K on Nier, because I've never cared about resolution and things of that nature. I would play it because of the controller and the fact that I could be in party chat with my boys, shooting the shit, because that's the most important thing to me. I don't know.
Oh,
See,
boy.
I'm sure there's gonna be some comments in here talking about whatever, but I buy the game again.
Me too.
So,
I got it on PC. I'll buy it again too. So,
I wonder if there's any more games that were kind of PlayStation exclusive that are making their way over. Nier and Neo were always the kind of two, well, especially after No Man's Sky and Hellblade and Crash all came over. I know Neo is maybe a little bit different story. That one was published by Sony in the West, so maybe it can't come over for that. So I'm not really sure, but uh, I think the Nier thing's like a no brainer.
yeah.
Like I think they'll package all the DLC, put it together to Game of the Year edition. It'll be X enhanced in some manner. Um, Probably won't sell that well. Late ports never do. Hellblade.
Hellblade didn't sell that great.
Yeah, Hellblade didn't sell particularly too well. Late ports historically do not sell very well. That's just how it is. But maybe, I mean, I would maybe they want to build the brand, and Nier Automata 2, if that's a thing, which you would think it is, would be more kind of day and date at that point, where you could sell Near Automata 2 on PlayStation, PC, and Xbox at the same time. You know, so who knows? I think there's been a lot of rumors surrounding this game that I've heard, that you've heard for months now, and now this one comes out. So it's kind of I think there's truth to this. I think Near Automata will come sometime this year. I don't know when, but I think it will.
Yeah, I think there's truth to this as well. But it's also one of those I just like to believe. But I've been hearing this for so long now. But yeah, I don't know. We'll have to wait and see.
So Honey Hot Sauce says Xbox controller makes you spend additional more money on batteries. Well, that's not true because I have rechargeable batteries. So as soon as they're out, grab the new rechargeables, slap them, put them in, and then.
My brother always complained about the PS4 controller battery life too. Is it bad? I don't know.
Yes. Okay, so here's my experience. I explained before in God of War how I played, and this is maybe just an experience because I was so involved in God of War, I would play it 12 hours a day, where I would literally have to take a break to recharge the controller, and I'd have to hook it up to the console to do so because.
And can't you use your own batteries?
No, I don't think so. I mean, there's no batteries.
What?
So
See,
like,
I've got a Panasonic Eneloop battery charger, and I've always got like 4 AA batteries ready to go. I'm never caught with no batteries because like I've had it before where like I've been streaming, my batteries have died midway, and it's like, oh, I got no batteries. I have to plug the controller in, but
so
now I've got revolving. Sorry.
While I was playing God of War, I had to actually, like, when I would take a break to eat dinner and do stuff, I would have to charge the controller because it would almost be out. And I hate being tethered to a console, so like I couldn't just play it while it was tethered. So it was like I would do whatever I had to do, come back in a little bit, and yeah, it would be fully charged, but it's not really that big of a thing. It was only because I was playing God of War extremely long. But with the Xbox, it's just like I have antelope batteries that are rechargeable. It's like they're right next to me. It's like once they run out, boom, slide in the other ones, put the other the ones back in the battery charger, and good to go. I don't know. I don't think it's that big of a deal. I'm not out there spending hundreds of dollars on Duracell or Energizer, batteries that you throw out once they're over. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I've also got this I've got this charge dock from Snakebite that's pretty good too. You just drop the controller in when you're not using it and it charges it up. And that uses technology similar to Eneloops too. So it's pretty good.
So Shogun Blade said that's a you problem, man. Most PS4 users have 2 controllers and one is docked at all times.
Well, there you go. You have to buy an extra controller if you want to pay. Oh god.
So I mean, I don't need 2 controllers. I'm the only person playing PlayStation, so 1 controller is perfectly fine for me. And most of the time, it's not an issue because I'll just charge it overnight. But it was only an issue for God of War because I was playing it for so long. So I wouldn't really hold that against the controller,
Weird.
But anyways, so Near Automata, I'm sure other sites will run with the story.
Yeah.
And someone says, Jesus, Rand, you must have 50 Xbox controllers. Can't you buy more? I actually have. How many Xbox controllers do you have, Jez?
I've got a lot because I review them.
Yeah, Jez gets them. I have, let's see, I have the Scorpio edition. I have the one that came with the S, so that's 2. I have the Elite, so that's 3. I have the Sea of Thieves controller, so that's 4. I have the Lunar White, so that's 5. I have the Green Gray, which is 6. I have the Recon Tech, which is 7. I have the Forza Motorsport 6 one, which is 8. I have the Covert Ops one, which is 9.
Wow. You got more than me, I think.
I have 9. So I got 9.
That's a lot.
Yeah, that's a lot of controllers.
Yeah, but you got more than me.
Yeah.
I'm using the Sea of Thieves one right now.
I'm using the Recon Tech one, and it's awesome.
I got that one too somewhere. I don't know. I bought my girlfriend a pink Xbox controller. Yeah, the Xbox Design Lab is awesome, by the way. Side note. Just color your own controller.
Yeah. But yeah, so you know what? State of Decay 2, Jez. Let's get into the State of Decay. All right, so the big websites, including Windows Central, they all got to play the game at events scattered around the globe. And sites like GameSpot, Windows Central, Giant Bomb, Eurogamer, they all got to play the game for an extended period of time, write their previews, and a lot of so Eurogamer wrote a mostly negative preview, which a lot of people went and ran with, right? And there was other previews that were pretty positive, but one of the things that I made about hold on, I lost my point there because I was reading chat, which maybe I shouldn't do, but I have to.
Eurogamer had a negative one.
So Eurogamer had a negative preview, and I did a video talking about how I was disappointed with how the co-op works in State of Decay, right? My personal disappointment, and me and you, we had lengthy discussion in DM about this, right? So you know what? Why don't you lay out the facts first? Just lay out the facts for the whole State of Decay 2 thing and how the co-op and all that stuff works, and then we'll get into the discussion, shall we?
Well, again, this goes back to people not reading the articles fully. I mean, there were some websites that had the previews and that talked about tethering and stuff like that, and some people just imagined that it'd be really, really, aggressive, and it wouldn't let you move anywhere and stuff like that. And and fanboys got a hold of it, and then it created this whole drama. So my colleague Matt Brown, he went to the preview in London. I didn't play it myself, but I did edit the video footage that he got. 4K capture, which is a nightmare to work with. So I had to go through 2 hours of State of Decay 2 footage, and I thought it looked pretty good. His raw gameplay footage, and Matt's a pretty good gamer. He plays Rainbow Six Siege religiously, which is far more patience than me. And he wrote a pretty positive preview about it. He liked it, which surprised me because he usually hates everything. But he liked it, so there you go. Well, the thing people, I'm getting to that.
One second. I have to address something, okay? Ravenflow got a super chat, and I've seen a couple of people say this. He's like, so what was your point about 2 PS4 controllers? Because I said I have 10 Xbox controllers. Here's the point. I play so much Xbox, I ruin a controller in a year. Done, over with, unusable. So even though I own 10, the majority of those don't work anymore. Whether it's drifting sticks or the trigger's not working properly. I don't just buy a controller just to have a controller. I buy the controller because I need the controller because I need it to work right. So because I don't play on PlayStation that very much, I don't need one controller. But because I play an Xbox literally all the time, and I burn through those controllers once a year, I need Xbox controllers. So that's the explanation. So continue, Jez. My bad.
That's fine. I have lots of Xbox controllers because Microsoft sends me them for free, and because they do that, I am completely biased towards them. I'm a corporate shill, that's what I heard. But anyway, so where was we? All right, so people latched onto this whole the co-op in State of Decay 2 is bad, and because it has tethering. Now, for those who might be confused about what tethering is, it basically means that you can't move away from the host of the game a certain distance. So you are tethered to them. If you get too far away from them, you will hitch a ride, quote unquote, to the host of the game. Now, I've been told a bunch of reasons why this is. One of them is performance, because the game doesn't have dedicated servers. Obviously, it's going to use peer-hosted servers. The player hosting the game will act as the server for that game. Why it doesn't have dedicated servers, we can go into in a minute. But people were concerned that this would mean you basically wouldn't be able to explore because you'd be tethered to the other player. I watched Matt's footage, and what happened was I got Matt's footage, which is 150 gigabytes, right? It's raw Atmos capture card footage. And I edited it down, I compressed it, and once I'd done with it, I deleted it off my hard drive. So when all this issue blew up, I thought, oh God, I'm gonna re-download it and watch it again and see and measure how big the tethering is. And I'm gonna put this out there next week. I haven't done it yet because 150 gigabyte video file is a pain to work with. But the tethering distance is really generous. It's far more generous than Far Cry 5, which I don't remember anyone complaining about. You can.
I did.
Okay, you were the only person who complained about it. But you can. I saw Matt get in a car and he drove at least like 300 meters away from the other guy who was AFK. They had an empty capture station in their booth, and it was several hundred meters away while Matt was speeding off in a car running zombies over, and it was fine. It looked completely fine to me. So basically, I think some people were upset because they were expecting a persistent connected world game like Destiny or something, and they didn't want that, or like Ark Survival Evolved, where you'd work together to build a base and stuff like that. Undead Labs is not a big studio, and the game's $30, and I never expected it to be like that. I mean, Ark Survival Evolved had tethering when it first came out. They eventually ramped it up, and they let people rent dedicated servers rather than host their own servers and stuff like that. Oh, they do host their own servers too. But you can rent dedicated servers for Ark. You can rent dedicated servers for Conan Exiles and other persistent world games. And you've got games like Destiny, which are funded by huge studios, and they can afford to have dedicated servers. Now you can make the argument that Microsoft should be paying for those servers, and honestly, I agree. I think the game would be better if it was a persistent connected world. But at the same time, that probably represented a big risk for Microsoft when the studios. How many people work there? Like 200.
At Undead Labs, I think it's like 50, isn't it? 60?
Is it? Is it even less than? Oh yeah, I'm mixing them up with Rare. I think
200 people's like two. No way, Undead Labs is that high.
Yeah. I think I got them mixed up with Rare. So okay, basically they're a small studio. Don't know the exact specific number, but they're a small studio, and taking a risk on setting up a dedicated server infrastructure for a game that might even not do well. The game isn't motion captured. The animations look janky. The game has bugs and stuff like that. It's kind of like, it's not this huge AAA game. And maybe again, you could say Microsoft shouldn't be billing these games like Recore and State of Decay as these big AAA games with throwing their huge marketing might against them and stuff like that. You can totally make those points. But if you just want to enjoy the game for what it is and you're not a fanboy and stuff like that, I think it's going to be a pretty great $30 experience, personally. That's why I got mad about that whole thing.
Right. And I want to explain my line of thinking, right? I didn't play the first State of Decay, but I know what it's about. I have friends who I speak to every day who've told me, my buddy Magic loves State of Decay 1, right? And we all talked about what we wanted to do with State of Decay 2, like, 4-player co-op when it was originally announced. Like, oh, cool, that's gonna be really interesting because we have played 4-player co-op games through and through. Dying Light, Dead Island, The Division, Ghost Recon, like you just played it normally and everybody got progress. And so when we were talking, and Gopher, who's in chat, he can verify this is true. Like, we were literally talking about strategies that we were going to implement while playing the game, right? But then we also think, what if it's not really like those other games I mentioned? What if it's like, Far Cry 5, which I did mention in my video, and I did say in my review that there's no reason to play co-op in Far Cry 5 because it has a tether and because it doesn't save for the guest. So to me, and how I play my co-op games and how my friends like to play it, there's no reason to play the game in co-op. So that's why I played Far Cry 5 in single player. So I guess maybe you can argue that my expectations, or at least how I thought I was going to enjoy State of Decay 2, got the better of me, because here I am thinking I'm going to play this like I played Ghost Recon, or I'm going to play this like I played Dying Light with my buddies at all the times, because that's how we tend to play our co-op games. So the tethering came out, and it wasn't that big of an issue for me. Like, it just kind of removed some of the scenarios or strategies. Like, watching the giant bomb footage and watching some of the other footage, like, they'd be going out to get things, and then a thing would come, be like, your base is being attacked, but you gotta stop what you gotta do and go back to your base. But like, we were thinking, like, wouldn't it be great if like three of you guys went out to go forage among the, the houses, and one person stayed back at the base just to protect it if something happened, so they could just keep on still foraging for stuff. I mean, so the tethering isn't that big of an issue. Like, I get it. It just kind of removes some of the potential strategies and scenarios you could do. And I understand what the devs are trying to say. Like, this is a hard game. You're going to want to stick together, right? Right, Jez? Like, they've said that. Like, you're going to die if you don't stick together. But the thing with that is, I think gamers would recognize that as soon as they played, since that's permadeath, and they would lose characters constantly, that, you know what, we need to stick together. You don't have to force limitation in the game to kind of drive home the point that the game's hard. It's like people will naturally come to the conclusion that, yo, State of Decay 2 is rough. It has permadeath. We can't be on one side of the map versus the other. We have to come together and watch each other's back. You know what I'm saying? Like, people will naturally come to that conclusion. They don't need the dev to make that kind of decision for them. But the bigger issue was the co-op thing for me. And I thought, and it's just my personal disappointment, I'm still playing State of Decay 2 when it comes out. You know, I'm still looking forward to the game. I just wanted to play the game in co-op and everybody have a good time, and everybody, if they go back to their single player, has the same progress. And what I mean by progress in this game, I know, because me and you talked about it, like how there's dynamic missions, right? So a mission in your game won't be the same as the mission in my game. But as you said before, there really isn't a story in this game. It's just like dynamically generated things you can do. Like, oh, in this building, you can save Martha. But in that building in my game, there's nobody there. And there may be some other person I can save somewhere else, right? It's not really story missions, but things you can do. But you could argue that the story of State of Decay, or at least the main thing you need to do, is to build up your community, kind of scavenge out to all these different places, come back, make sure the morale and everybody at your base is high, you build it up, and you constantly then scavenge farther and farther away so you can build up the base better. The issue I have was that if I'm the guest and I help the host, if I help you, for example, if I jump into your game and say we spend 4 hours and we clear out like the entirety of the left side of the map, for instance, right? But you're on like the different time cycle than me. So, okay, I go back in my game. Well, that whole left side of the map is still needs to be cleared out.
But you're contradicting yourself here, because you said you wanted to play the whole game in co-op.
Yeah.
So when you stop playing in co-op, why don't you just log off and then rejoin your buddy's game? Because
here's the thing: none of my buddies want to play it that way.
But that's But when I play State of Decay 2, I'm gonna play it mostly with Roby, probably, and I will always join his game. So it'll be as if we are sharing a dedicated server anyway. And I agree it's an annoying limitation, and I always hated this about Minecraft, actually, before they added Minecraft Realms, because in Minecraft, before they added Minecraft Realms, where you can rent your own servers, the persistent world would require the host.
Yep.
Minecraft got to millions and millions and millions of users on Xbox with that limitation. So I don't think it's that big of a deal. And I mean, maybe it's annoying, but it's not gonna kill the game.
Maybe it's not that big of a deal. Maybe it's just the expectations I set for myself previously. Maybe I thought this game and the co-op was going to be something different. I thought it was going to be more like Dying Light than Dead Island, rather than
I tell you
why
you might have thought that, I tell you why you might have thought that, because they have, since Undead Labs has this like a passionate forum community, and they were very upfront with their roadmap for State of Decay when they announced the first game. Jeff Strain worked on World of Warcraft, and State of Decay was always supposed to be this sort of MMO. I almost feel like State of Decay 2 is Undead Labs having to prove themselves again before Microsoft will fund that MMO, or something. I mean, I'm kind of reaching here, but it's kind of like it does feel like an iterative sequel. I mean, just looking at it from the outside, there doesn't seem to be that many more different kinds of super zombies. The gameplay loop seems very familiar. You go to buildings, you scout out from towers, you loot the stuff, you take it back to your base. When I saw it at E3 last year, I was actually a bit disappointed.
I remember.
I was someone who I loved the original, but I like you, I had hoped for the MMO sort of more connected, ambitious game in the sequel, and it doesn't look like we're getting that. It looks like we're getting what the first game should have been. Now, you could argue that that's really lame, but it is what it is. And I think like State of Decay 3, if they do make one, which we can never really bet on because that's Microsoft for you with their sort of you know, shall we say, track record with sequels. I think if we do get State of Decay 3, hopefully it'll be that ambitious, connected world game. But I think this is going to be fun for what it is, and if you always play with the same people, it's going to be as effective as having a dedicated server.
And here's the thing: I never said it was a terrible game. I didn't say it was bad. I just said I'm just disappointed. That's all. You would think I rated the game a 2 out of 10. Fine. Like I built the game up in a different way that it is. Maybe I expected too much out of a $30 game. I didn't play the first one, so I didn't truly know. Whatever. It's just I'm honestly truly disappointed. Like
my issue was that it feels like State of Decay and other Microsoft exclusives are underneath this microscope right now because everyone thinks like State of Decay 2 has to be as good as God of War or something, and it's like Microsoft are under this microscope because they've been sucking at making exclusive. Let's be completely honest. You know, their exclusive games aren't as good as Sony's exclusive games. That's just Metacritic.
People would say they're not even good as Nintendo's.
Well, they'd probably be right about that too, you know. But that's the thing. I don't care about exclusives because I don't play games to worry about which console is winning because it's not a support, you know. I'm going to enjoy State of Decay for what it is. Like I enjoy indie games for what they are, and like I enjoy PC games for what they are. You know, like I go back to Division, which is really old, and I'm probably going to go back to Dragon Age 2, which just hit backwards compatibility. You know, I don't care about all this stuff. And, you know, God of War looks amazing, and I'm going to buy a PlayStation 4 eventually. I got money problems right now, and it's hard to justify dropping that kind of money on a console when I've got, you know, debts and stuff. But I'm going to get one. And I also probably going to end up getting a Nintendo Switch as well because Daniel Rubino got one, and he keeps talking about how great it is, and he's maybe kind of jealous. So if they drop a Pokemon game and a Metroid game for Nintendo Switch, I'm probably going there as well. But for now, it's like I don't understand why Microsoft's lower AA games have to have this microscope under them. And this is why, Rand, I've argued in the past, maybe Microsoft should revive Xbox Live Arcade. Microsoft wants games that aren't AAA, brand them as such with the Xbox Live Arcade, and you've got Idea Xbox for your indie stuff, and then Xbox Live Arcade for your AA games that aren't that ambitious, like, you know, State of Decay 2, which doesn't have dedicated servers or persistent connected world like you would expect of a smaller studio. Stick that under Xbox Live Arcade or some other branding, you know, Xbox Originals or something like that. And then when you do start bringing out those big budget AAA games, which I do know are coming, have those be flagship titles. You know, it's hard, man, because in a perfect world, games would just be games on their merits, but exclusives can never be like that because it's always like this exclusive has to be compared to this exclusive. Why isn't this exclusive as good as this exclusive when they offer completely different experiences? I would rather play janky zombie simulator than an epic single player game because I don't get that much time to game. And where possible, I like playing games with my brother and my family who live in another country. So I'd rather play Monster Hunter World or something like that. Like Hellblade, I really want to play Hellblade, but I just haven't found the time. And when I game, it's like I want to play co-op. So State of Decay 2 is ideal for me. You know,
Right. And
people game for all different reasons, and that's okay. It's okay, Rand.
well, shout out to Showin W. He says State of Decay multiplayer should have borrowed from Ghost Recon and Division. I would have liked that. I mean,
I would have liked that too.
Ghost Recon. Here's the thing. Ghost Recon is a game that would have been, in my opinion, pretty bad in single player, but it was elevated. It was elevated because I got to play it in co-op. Because I mean, there wasn't really much to Ghost Recon. Division was a lot of fun in co-op too. Playing four player co-op, going through that whole game was great. And maybe State of Decay 2, maybe my concerns about State of Decay 2 will be washed away come when the game comes out, and I'll play it all the whole time with my buddies in co-op. Who knows, right?
I can understand why you're disappointed because I would have loved that as well. And it goes back to the expectations we put on Microsoft. Microsoft is supposed to be this big cloud company with tons and tons of servers. Why aren't they using those servers to give us a connected world, State of Decay 2, which is what fans deserve, probably. And, there's probably all these sort of business decisions and these legitimate reasons why they can't do that we don't know about. But it ultimately falls back on the fact that Undead Labs is a small studio. And maybe that won't be the case next time, but it's the case now, and it is what it is. And you can't just... People want to write off the game because it's not God of War, and I just think that's really anti-gamer and just kind of unfair.
Well, I didn't say anything about God of War.
Not you. I'm just talking about, fanboys and stuff. It's just under a microscope, man. And like Sea of Thieves is under a microscope, and like, I mean, you can make a better argument about Sea of Thieves because it was a $60 game, but they have basically conceded with State of Decay that it's not a $60 game. So,
do you remember that whole issue too? When people were when everybody thought State of Decay was $60, and then when it came out it was 30. There was that whole... Remember that?
Yep, I remember that.
And then now it's like, like it was always 30. Like there's only so much you should expect from... I don't know, maybe this is more of just like, here's Microsoft with State of Decay 2, and the first thing you hear about it is got 4-player co-op, and then you think it's this big budget title, $60, and that's what everybody thinks.
It's mismanagement,
And then later on you find out that not only is it not $60, it's 30, but it doesn't really have what I would call true co-op. And it's more, it just like, yeah, like managing expectations and stuff like that, I think are important.
Yeah. I think that you've hit the nail on the head there. Microsoft is pretty bad at managing expectations, and they always have been. And it's because they're a massive studio, a massive company, and they, it's hard to get the company to have any sort of real focus. And I think that part of that is in my article, I go into an explanation about why they've reorganized the whole company, and it's because of things like this, where they can't manage expectations, and there aren't. There are different departments at Microsoft who are leaning on other departments that creates problems. It's hard to explain in free form, but
but in an article you
complicated.
Can do it in free form. Yeah. So I mean, in conclusion to this State of Decay 2 discussion, like it's just my look, this is my personal disappointment. I understand that maybe I didn't understand the 100% true full scope of what State of Decay was going to be. At the same time, I didn't trash the game. I didn't say anything bad about it. I just said, hey, I just kind of wish co-op was a different way, but I'm still playing the game when it comes out. I'm still
Not with me
going
though.
to I'm still going to review the game if I get the opportunity, and it's just like, and I'll play it in single player if that's the case. Maybe I can convince Gopher to come in my game as a guest and spend 30 hours building my shit. And when he asked me to do the same for him, I'd be like, I don't know you, bro. You know what I mean?
See, that doesn't bother me. I'd be totally happy to build someone else's base with them.
But wouldn't it be cool if like you could just
See, you
share
get
a
those.
base
You
though,
still get
Jazz? We
those.
could just
It
build
would
it
be cool.
together. I mean,
It
that'd
would
be
be cool. The thing is, you're gonna get the achievements for doing that. So it's as good as
I'm
you
not
know.
not worried about the achievements. I was just kind
I'm
of
just
worried
saying,
about.
like it's as good as you are not losing anything. You're having fun with friends and you're sharing the experience. It's just the not on your save.
You
I
know,
don't, I don't see the difference.
there is you know how you meant we said that Microsoft is bad at maybe managing people's expectations for games or
Super bad.
whatever.
You
Crackdown
don't.
3
You
is going to
don't.
handle that as well, right?
Sorry, what?
Crackdown 3 is going to suffer from that as well.
Crackdown 3 is complicated
I'm
because
just saying, like
it's been
people
in development
have
for so long now.
people are going to have these expectations for Crackdown, whether right or wrong, and because Microsoft hasn't they've literally went into a media blackout mode since they delayed the game. Nobody really knows what it is or what the multiplayer mode is. Even though we know what the multiplayer mode is, it's called Wrecking Ball. It's 5v5 where you take down the tower as fast as you can versus the other team. Uh, People are going to be maybe disappointed when they find out the full scope of everything. I think because they're so
Probably.
quiet about it.
They're in a stuck between a rock and a hard place there because it's like it's the same sort of thing. It's been in development for so long, and if it launches now, a double A game, it's going to be like, oh, shouldn't this be better considering how long it was in development? But like my article talks about this, difficulties that Microsoft has had, and since I published that article, by the way, people at Microsoft who I'd never spoken to reached out and said, finally, someone tells the story the way it is.
All right, so let's get into that. So the thing of your article, the gist of the article was that Xbox doesn't need exclusives at this very moment, but they eventually will need exclusives, right? And that you kind of went on and said like exclusives aren't that important, and you
Well,
had it.
that's what people are focusing on, right? Really, the point I wanted to get across was it is what it is, and Microsoft isn't doomed. They can't pull a God of War out of the ether. It's going to take time, and they've gotten on it. And the reasons why they've screwed up and they don't have God of War now, when they probably should have done, but hindsight is 2020, isn't it? So
So all right. I'm of the opinion that exclusives are always important. They're the reason I buy a system. They're the reason I switched from PlayStation to Xbox in the first place, and hell, was the reason I switched from Sega to PlayStation. I think they're important to the ecosystem, important to the library, important to differentiate your console from the others. Because if you just take a PlayStation, a Switch, and an Xbox, and the person has no loyalty or no doesn't care about any of this stuff, it's like, well, these consoles play all the same games, but I get all these extra ones on this one. So it's like, like that's a reason. Now, I made a video recently about that as well, and I know people buy consoles for plenty of reasons. I buy them for the exclusives. You buy them for, I mean, you said you like playing co-op games. There are plenty of people out there who just buy it because Fortnite and they want to play with their friends. And the thing is that the exclusives, because, and I think mostly because Sony's in such a great position right now and are putting out great games, that there's a microscope on Microsoft to do the same. And even with Nintendo, they put out Super Mario Odyssey and Zelda. Look how great they are on Metacritic, right? So you have the two console manufacturers like putting out 95 plus Metacritics or whatever, and then the attention focuses to Microsoft. Well, what about you? Are you going to join the dance? And like the games that they have now are all holdovers that have been dev for a while, right? And it's tough to, I don't know. Is it, you think it's tough to get across to people what like it really happened, or the truth of the matter about why 2017 ended up the way it is? Why, if it wasn't for these 3 games that were supposed to come out last year, we would have no games in 2018 except for Horizon at the end of the year? Do people just not want to like
Well, the thing is, Microsoft can't just throw individuals under a bus, you know, which is why I stepped in and did it for them. But you know, the long and short of it is, Microsoft had a big gap in the budget the last few years for second-party publishing deals, and also, you know, pretty much everything, you know. And the budget they did have, they've pivoted towards Mixer and things like that, because they see a looming threat from Amazon and Google and Tencent, which no one's really talking about and no one really cares about, which is fine because gamers, I mean, why would you care about the business? But the thing is, Microsoft has a responsibility to make sure its business is healthy and future-proofed against those kind of threats. So, for the time being, and also there's been a few managerial cock-ups and bets that didn't plan out, like Scalebound, Fable Legends, and Phantom Dust, and you know, other cancelled stuff which we heard about, like that Obsidian game and stuff like that. There's been a lot of screw-ups along the way that has contributed with this light budget for second-party publishing deals, to create this perfect storm situation that we're in now, which frankly isn't being noticed by anyone but hardcore gamers. Most people, most Xbox gamers are just playing Fortnite and Call of Duty and FIFA, and they don't care. And Microsoft is monetizing them very well, as we saw, over $2 billion in revenue last quarter. Microsoft's doing very well, and that's why my argument is that they have time to fix this issue now, because they are monetizing their existing base extremely well. This late in the gen, it's not as big of a deal as it might have otherwise been. You know, that's my central argument, Rand. And but you know, I finished the article by saying that I know there is a bigger budget for exclusives now. Phil is at the leadership table now, answering directly to Satya Nadella. There's no Terry Myerson, who's a middleman, who doesn't understand gaming, and frankly, wasn't very passionate about consumers. He's a you know, business dude, and you know, numbers guy, and you know, gaming just was not in his periphery. You know, it just wasn't in his universe. Terry Myerson, but Phil had to go through Terry Myerson a lot of the time, you know, from what I've heard. And Myerson's gone now, and Phil really truly does run the gaming stuff. And I know for a fact that the budget is bigger now, much bigger, and that Xbox is in it to win it. But at the same time, it's going to take time. People hoping that Microsoft's going to have a huge spread of exclusives at this year's E3. There might be teasers, but they're going to be disappointed because it's slow, it takes time, and turning the big machine around is going to take a lot of time. Right. Probably next year's E3 is when we'll start seeing some of this stuff.
So here's my response to that, and I'm first got to say shout out to Fred Macattack 23 for the super chat. Thanks for the support. Oh man, you're not gonna like this, Jazz, or maybe you will. He says Undead Labs lied. The E3 2016 trailer was a AAA game, but when they knew they couldn't deliver, they lowered the price. Hopefully, everyone with damage control it. Rand is not wrong. Undead Labs set the expectations.
No, that's everything in that statement is bullshit. First of all, Undead Labs isn't handling any of the marketing for their game because they're in a publishing deal with Microsoft. So don't blame Undead Labs for that. You can blame Microsoft for that. Second of all, you can also blame Microsoft for the pricing discrepancy. None of this is on Undead Labs. They are just churning away, making the game they want to make, where Microsoft is publishing, marketing. All the blame for those things is firmly on Microsoft for mismanaging expectations, which is what
Yeah.
we've already talked about.
Well, okay,
So,
so you want to talk about blame, and in your article, you mentioned that the blame for how Xbox has turned out this gen, and for the lack of games, or at least the lack of budget to invest in new games, was mainly because of Don Matrick and specifically Terry Myerson, right?
well,
Uh,
not the budget. The budget isn't necessarily Matrix's fault because obviously Matrix would have had to answer to Myerson as well. I just hear Myerson's name brought up a lot, you know, and this is probably a reason that he's been ousted. And from what I've heard, it wasn't an amicable thing either. You know, for those who don't know, previously Microsoft was structured in a way where Windows was on top, and there was this big division called Windows and Devices Group, where Xbox lived, where Surface lived, and where Windows was God, and Windows basically dictated everything that was happening. Windows was like, we're going to make this UWP platform, Xbox is going to be part of it. We're going to have, and we need to do this because we're being killed in mobile, blah, blah, blah. And Xbox needs to be part of it. Xbox needs to have Cortana as well because we're being killed by Amazon in the devices stuff. And, you know, Windows was God. But now Microsoft has a completely different philosophy. And that philosophy is Windows is just part of this wider storm of computing pieces called the intelligent edge, they call it. And at the center is the intelligent cloud, which is where Microsoft wants to be. They want to be in the cloud, and then all this stuff on the outside, those are just gateways to the cloud. So Windows is now at the same level as Xbox, or maybe even lower, because Windows is an open platform, and Microsoft has lost control of it. They can't monetize Windows like they can Xbox, which is a closed platform. So Microsoft has reorganized around that fact, and that's why Xbox is going to be in a much better position moving forward. But it's going to take time.
Right, but that's the thing, is that it's going to take time. And Show W says, for the super chat, can't ask for time. 5 years in a generation, not cool. And there will be people that say that, like, you know, I
can say it all they want, but you know, it's like this whole generation thing is just like, it's just a console war fanboy thing. At the end of the day, Microsoft and those guys don't really care about it. They just see numbers, money, and what comes next. And the whole concept of generations is outdated anyway, because the Xbox One 2 is going to be compatible with the Xbox One and the Xbox One X anyway. You know, probably. I would bet money on that, because how Microsoft has been emphasizing change resilience in their developer commentary, and they've been emphasizing backwards compatibility and stuff like that. And also, we've got cloud streaming on the horizon as well. Microsoft wants to have this huge, massive library of content which roams with you to any device that you're on. Maybe even PlayStation, Nintendo Switch, who knows? But so this whole argument of Microsoft needs to do this or they're doomed, and the next generation, they're doomed next generation and stuff like that. They ain't doomed. They just posted $2.25 billion in revenue last quarter. You know, they've screwed up, and they've made a lot of their core fans feel alienated. And you know, I'm one of those people. I don't like the games Microsoft's been putting out. I don't like Super Lucky's Tale. I don't really have an interest in Crackdown 3. You know, I like the violent games. I like Gears of War, which, you know, we get one of those once every however many years. I'm not even a big Halo fan.
All right, let me ask you this question.
Halo.
Let me ask you this question. If they're making all this money, like you said, 2.2 billion, and they're not making anything great, or at least huge budget wise, right? Like you said, at least not right now. What's the point of making it in the future? If like they're spending little and getting back way more, right? And relying on the third party deals and Mixer and all this stuff and Game Pass, what incentive does Microsoft have to invest in a 5-year project like Fable and or something like that, and pour money into a huge AAA new IP single player game when they're clearly making money not doing that?
Now that's where it gets interesting.
Okay, so let's talk about this. Okay, how does it get interesting?
Because Microsoft sees a future where the console doesn't even matter, and frankly,
Oh,
so
wait.
does Sony.
The console doesn't. People aren't gonna like to hear that, Jez. What do you mean the console's not gonna? The console's not gonna matter. What do you mean?
It's the future. It's the future, man.
So in the future, you're saying the Xbox console won't matter.
Neither will the PlayStation.
Well, are we? How long are we talking here? 15 years from now? 10 years from now? 2 years from now? 6 years from now?
Maybe 5 to 10 years from now. But
5 to 10 years from now.
Let me explain. Right. So
before you explain, I got a shout out Sean for the super chat. He says, "Not fanboy anything. People paid money, hundreds of," and that is something I actually said to people at Xbox. Is like the idea of like I don't want to hear that. Just wait. You know, like they'll come in 2 to 3 years. I
ain't telling people that. I ain't telling people to wait. I'm saying if you ain't happy with Xbox now, go to PlayStation because it ain't gonna get better in the near term. I would 100%, and you know, Phil's even tweeted this himself. When someone I remember, like, this was a while ago, but someone was saying, "Oh, you're not making anything I like," and Phil, you know, I should buy a PlayStation, and Phil was just like, "Play where you like," you know, and I'm not defending Xbox. I don't care where people play. If the games you want ain't on Xbox, don't buy an Xbox.
I just think there's this there's something's wrong when you are, you know, pretty much coming out there and being like, "Hey, by the way, we know you want these games, but just give us time to make them." You know,
I'm saying that though.
Phil said that though.
Yeah, well, he said he didn't say give us time. Begging.
I mean, he just says, he did. He did. He did say give us time because he said the hardware took time, the services and back compat took time, and the games will take time.
That's just a fact.
I know. Trust me, I know it's a fact, just like you know it. But there's still this idea of coming out and saying it to people who bought a console and being
like,
"What do
you want him to do? Do you want him to issue an apology?" Like, yeah.
Honestly, what would I do? I wouldn't say anything.
Wait, what?
I wouldn't say anything. I wouldn't say anything.
Why?
Because sometimes silence is the best choice. Silence is the best option.
Well, people will just say you're avoiding the question. Then you can't win.
Or people say he's as damage controlling as it is, or he's not telling the truth because he's been saying he's going to be buying first party studios for 4 years now.
Has he?
But, yeah, because he said that back in 2014. I'm just saying. I understand the consumer. Like being like, "Hey, I bought this system, but like, here's the ad saying like, well, just give us time. It'll come in 2 to 3." Like, I don't know. Like, I wasn't a fan of that comment. That's all.
Well, like, I completely agree. You know, I'm not saying, I'm not telling anyone listening to this, give Xbox time. You're a consumer. You know, and Microsoft have left their first party week. You know, vote with your wallet. If you're not happy, vote with your wallet. I'm not damage controlling at all. If you ain't happy, it's completely justified. You know, so that's my position. You know, people say, "Oh, Jez is damage controlling." I don't care where you play. You know, just if you ain't happy, leave. Vote with your wallet. You know, but here's my take. We talked about this in DM. I prefer underdog Microsoft. Because they try harder, you know.
I agreed with you. I agreed because arrogant Microsoft is bad.
Sucks.
Yeah, arrogant. Just like arrogant Sony is bad.
Yeah, I was gutted when I saw that. I was a PS2 fully 100% PS2, and I saw that PS3 price, and it was just like, wow, they don't want my business. So I went to Xbox. You know, and now Microsoft locked me in with all that cloud stuff, you know?
Right. There's this... Look, underdog Microsoft is great. They come up with great things for consumers because they're trying to build back your trust. Like, I remember arrogant Microsoft that brought us Connect and thought that was...
Yeah, would back compat exist?
No, back compat... Well, I think technically they had the plans in there before the Xbox One, but they had to put that aside to maybe fix it. So maybe it would. I don't know. But a lot of the things they're doing now, I don't think would be there because of the way they... I mean, let's be frank. I hate the Kinect. I hate that Microsoft tried to force that bullshit contraption and those terrible fucking games down our throat, right? And I hated the fact that Xbox fans tried damage controlling for years that Kinect was this super awesome thing. I hated being an Xbox fan during the years 2010 to 2013. It was terrible because I'd watch E3 and I see swarmy ass Don Matrick on stage talking about how fucking waving your hands in the air is somehow a new exciting way to play games. Bullshit. It was fucking terrible. I hated it. I hated Microsoft at that point. I honestly did. Because
you know what? I actually, this is before I was a blogger, man. I remember before the Xbox One reveal, consciously thinking, I hope Microsoft doesn't do a PS3 here and do something arrogant, because one of the reasons why the PS3 was so expensive, at least in the UK, was they bundled Blu-ray, they bundled like Wi-Fi antenna. I didn't have Wi-Fi back then. Not many people did, and nobody had Blu-rays. And it was just like, it was pure arrogance. They were like, we are so dominant. Everyone will want this, even though we're bundling it with this stuff. We're forcing Wi-Fi on you, and we're forcing Blu-ray on you, even though you might have no intention to use it. And Microsoft did the opposite. They offered Wi-Fi as an option with the first 360. They didn't include Blu-ray at all until much later on. And it's like, you know, that was more pro-consumer because they brought the price down, because they removed those features. And then when Microsoft announced, yes, you will be forced to use Kinect and it will be more expensive, I was just like, no, that's exactly what Sony did with the PS3. And it's like, I knew it was going to be bad from then. And yeah, Matrix said so much unforgivable stuff.
Oh my God. I don't know why anybody in this world would want him to come back. Sure, you can say Peter Moore or who's the guy before Peter Moore? Jay Allard or Robbie Bach, right? Like, I get those. Like, Peter Moore and Robbie Bach built the 360 to what it was. Donnie Matrick came in like a front runner and basically took what Xbox had already built and used that as leverage to get exclusive deals. And you basically canceled tons of games in favor of the Kinect. Like, I'm sorry, those were the freaking dark years, bro. Like, I was a huge Xbox fan back then.
I heard that Don Matrick had, like, no faith in indies either.
No, he didn't have any faith in any of that stuff. And it just, like, I don't, you get me heated with the Kinect. Calm down. Shout out some people for super chats. We got Show and W saying, don't put $300 to $500 box on shelves and say, wait. I agree with you. And Fred Macattack 23, he's got a bone to pick with you, Jez. He says, don't call my comments BS. Be respectful. First E3 2016 trailer, State of Decay 2 set everyone's expectations high. As of today, they have failed. That's both Undead Labs and Microsoft's false advertising. You know, be respectful, Jez. Come on.
No.
Jez not going to be respectful.
Stop saying bullshit things, and I won't say they're bullshit. You know, it's not Undead Labs' fault.
So here's the thing. I would love for Microsoft to have tons of exclusives right now, right? Tons of AAA. I think they need them. I think if they had them, the system would sell better. More. I mean, I already know it's selling good now, like up 15% year over year in that press release, and it's up 40% in the US. But I still think it would do more, and I think the complaining would lessen from people. Here's the thing. The fact that it's not there, the fact that we're here telling people it's probably going to happen 2 to 3 years from now, maybe even 4 years, but we're not telling people to wait. You're saying, and I'm saying, hey, vote with your wallet. The thing is, to me, this speaks of terrible management, poor planning, and all this stuff going back to the 360 era. You've been in the video game console industry for 17 years. This isn't your first rodeo. This is your third. And I understand the things that went on behind the scenes, but those things never should have been allowed to happen. Like, yeah, I mean, they should have known better. They should have prepared better. Definitely. Like, and it just boggles my mind that they're in this situation in the first place. Like,
that's why Meyerson is gone.
Right, but it's not all Meyerson. Even Phil himself has come out and said, like, he's just as much to blame. He was in those meetings when Kinect was decided to be part of the whole experience of $500. He's not blameless in all of this. He runs Xbox. He would tell you it is his problem. I mean, right?
It is his problem. But Phil's also a humble guy, you know. And to Phil Spencer's credit, he's a humble guy, and he'll admit when he's done things wrong. And and at the end of the day, he's not going to sit there and try and explain to someone we've set up Mixer because we want to have a plan against Amazon, who could jump into the industry with a streaming stick that lets you stream PC games to your TV, and it works really well and disrupt the whole market. Can you imagine if when the 5G rollout is complete and everyone has high-speed internet? This is all theoretical, of course, but if back in the day, a service like Netflix would have been inconceivable. Would have been inconceivable. To have streaming 4K video would have been inconceivable in the 90s. And now here we are with internet speeds getting faster, 5G rollouts coming soon. We've just, 4G happened. It's still rolling out in some rural areas, but high-speed, ubiquitous internet blanketing the globe is a thing that's going to happen. And when it does, Amazon has no interest in setting up a console that sits under your TV. They'll have an Amazon Fire Stick, which streams PC games straight to your TV and cuts out all the middleman. And they'll sell you PC games and PlayStation and Xbox. If they don't respond, they'll be in trouble. Tencent and Google hired Phil Harrison from Xbox.
Yeah, they're getting into.
Ravenflow. That's why. Just to finish this point, that's why exclusives are important.
Wait, so you're saying they are important, but I thought you said they weren't.
No, I didn't. I said they're not important now, not so much. And the thing is, they still are important now, but they're not so important to the point where it's going to kill Xbox. When they're going to be important is when Amazon comes in, tries to disrupt the whole industry, and Microsoft has no exclusive content. And that's why Amazon Prime and Netflix have their original programming, their exclusives, to compete in a cloud-based world. Microsoft and Xbox will need its exclusives to compete in a cloud-based world. That's why exclusives are important and they are critical. And games like God of War and stuff like that are amazing, and they're important for selling consoles and opening a gateway into your ecosystem. And it sucks that Microsoft doesn't have those, but Microsoft can afford to lean on games like Fortnite, which are completely dominating the casual market right now. And those are the people who make up the bulk of money.
People in chat are saying you're backpedaling already.
Where?
I'm just saying, people in chat. There's
I didn't read my article. It says at the end of the article, exclusives are important and critical. It says critical. So nobody read my article. Right?
I read your article. I've always agreed exclusives are critical, and I agree with you that in the situation where Game Pass is the future and you're trying to reach 2 billion gamers, that they're even more critical. Because, that's how you're going to sell the service. You're going to sell the service off the back of exclusives.
That's my argument. That's
right.
What
I 100% agree with that argument. I 100% agree with that. I think there is a little bit of, because the exclusives aren't that big right now. There's this kind of it. And you mentioned it okay, they don't need it right now but they do need it in the future, right? They 100% need it in the future, but they don't need it right now.
They can rely on the maturity of their ecosystem to get them through this annoying period.
But I don't think but that's the thing. I don't think hardcore gamers want to hear that. They don't want to hear.
I don't care if they want to hear it. It's the facts, right? It's the facts. They can rely on the casual market. They can rely on the engagement they get on Xbox Live to weather this annoying period. But when Amazon comes in and when internet speeds are fast enough to deliver decent game streaming, and they will be, Microsoft needs those exclusives. And that's what it says in the article. If any of those fanboys would read it. So that's my only argument. And I'm not damage controlling. If you're not happy with Xbox right now, go to PlayStation. That is completely the obvious thing to do. If you're not happy with the console, go to PlayStation. If you're not happy with PlayStation, go to Nintendo Switch. If you want a portable console, you have to get a Nintendo Switch. That's the differentiation. You want backwards compatibility, you have to get an Xbox One. But there's no damage control here. It's just the way I see the people who, you know, say that they're gonna quit Xbox, and if Microsoft doesn't do this and doesn't do that, and they stamp their heels like, spoiled brats and stuff like that. That's fine. It's okay to be annoyed at Microsoft when you've spent a lot of money on the console and you've invested a lot and you feel like the ecosystem isn't delivering what you want anymore. That's fine. You can sell that Xbox. You can get a PlayStation and move on or something. But the whining is not gonna fix it in the short term, because they haven't been able to say to Satya Nadella, this is why we need Hollywood level games, AAA games like God of War, because it's going to be critical when the disruption comes, and it is coming. There is huge disruption coming to this industry. Huge. You think that we're going to be talking about boxes under our TVs forever? No. Microsoft's in it for the long game, and they're in it to win it, and it's going to take a while, and there's no damage control. It's just a fact. That's all. That's all, man.
Yeah, I mean,
I'm exhausted.
I know you're exhausted, and I mean the points like, and you can we go right into God of War. God of War, an exclusive from Sony, right? But let me shout out Ravenflow. He has a couple super chats here. It was Sony who made peripherals an option and not Microsoft. And Microsoft should go full party. Should go full third party.
But that's where they're weakest.
Yeah, their first party content's probably at an all-time lowest.
Why would they do that?
Yeah, I mean, like, I don't. Would anybody? I don't know. Like, Microsoft
PC.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't think. Look, I've said this before. I love everything about Xbox except for their first party output and the games they get exclusively. Like the console, the services, the back and pat, all that stuff is amazing. There's just this one glaring hole, and it's the exclusive games.
I know it.
And everybody knows it. Jez, you know it. You've said it before. Like, you don't give a shit about Crackdown or any of these other games. Like Sea of Thieves.
I think Crackdown will be fun, but it's not like I'm hyped out of my mind for it. And it's just like third-party games are far more compelling than Crackdown. Just a fact.
It's like, hey, you know what? Like, if Microsoft can boost it up and boost that first-party output on the level of everything else, it'll be great. And it'll be great for the industry. It'll be great for Sony. It'll be great for Nintendo, because everybody will be competing to make the best product possible and make it as cheap as possible so you can get it. I mean, that'd be great. It's just disappointing. And like God of War proves that those type of exclusives, when done right, when advertised like as well as God of War advertised, they can help sell consoles. They can help turn the perception around for it. Like God of War sold 3 million in 3 days. 3 million in 3 days. Jez, Far Cry 5 did 5 million in a week on 3 consoles or 3 platforms. This is a single game. It is. And it shows the power that a well-executed, well-defined plan with a excellent quality game, you give a dev the time and budget they need to make the experience as great as it possibly can be, and how that game can sell your console, sell your exclusive, and sell your brand to people.
Yeah, and I hope Microsoft's paying attention. And they are.
Well, they are paying attention. I know they're paying attention. You just said that you know for 100% fact that big budget titles are back on the menu at Microsoft, right? You said that in your article. You said it here on the podcast.
Yeah.
And not only that, but like single player stuff, because they know it's important. It's going to be important now, as Sony obviously is reaping the benefits from it. Obviously, 80 million consoles sold and all that stuff.
I mean,
Microsoft knows all this stuff.
It's just basic economics. I mean, what do you do, right? If you want to have the most people engaged possible, you give them the most diverse portfolio possible. That means single player games. But when they've been budget light for the last few years, they've fallen back on margins, which is games that get people to buy Xbox Live, games that get people to buy Game Pass, margins, and that sucks for a hardcore gamer who likes single player games. I got really good friends who are they play on PlayStation, like I got siblings who quit Xbox because they ain't happy with the quality of the lineup, which is fine, but most people are happy to just play Fortnite and just chill and stuff like that. And most people aren't even having this conversation, man.
I know. And Jamie Dixon says, so Jez is saying greatness awaits on Xbox. Lol. Thanks for the super chat. I mean,
yeah, greatness waits.
Greatness awaits.
It's gonna wait.
I mean, yeah.
Yeah.
You're gonna have to wait.
It's a shame. It is what it is.
It's a damn shame, Jez. This never should have happened. Never.
It shouldn't have happened. It shouldn't have happened. That's why heads have rolled. Terry Martin's head has rolled.
And yeah, we've said it. It should never have happened. It speaks to bad planning, poor management, all the other stuff going back.
I said all this stuff in my article too.
I know. Yeah. I read. But here's the thing: people don't read articles. People don't watch videos. They just kind of look at the headlines and stuff.
And then they read what people comment and assume they know what the whole point I'm trying to make. And it's annoying. But it is what it is, Rand. What you gonna do, eh? What you gonna do? We move on.
I mean, do you want to just take questions and end it there?
Can do.
All right.
Take some questions.
So send us some questions, and we will answer them. Thanks for the
that'd be nice because
all the super chats. Well, people don't always want to be nice, but I'm just look at my comment section on my State of Decay video. They're very much not nice. Yeah. Trying to the dead air here. I'm waiting for a question to show up in chat so I can answer it. Oh, Shadow of the Tomb Raider, Jazz. That got revealed. Let's talk about that real quickly.
Oh yeah. My buddy Matt Brown also went to that preview event. It's pretty cool.
Yeah, my buddy Mako went to it. Said it was very nice. Said the game, it's pretty much Tomb Raider. Like he really enjoyed it.
That's what Matt said. He said it just looks like more of the same, which bothers me. I like to see sequels evolve.
Well, I'm excited to play a new Tomb Raider game. Well, yes, I would love to see the game evolve. And they did say I think this was more focused on stealth stuff, which is very appealing to me. So a game comes out September 7th, or no, September 14th. A whole bunch of different editions. 48-hour early access if you buy one of the more expensive ones and all that stuff. We'll obviously find out more at E3. I believe Microsoft has the marketing rights to this one, it looks like.
I don't really know. I never bothered paying attention to marketing rights because I think it's something that more fanboys get upset about. But it's like, who cares who's got the marketing? It will be interesting if those marketing rights lead to some sort of Game Pass thing, because that's one of the big questions of this year's E3. Are Microsoft going to get big AAA games into Game Pass? From third parties. I mean, that's one of the intriguing things that I think. I don't know if you think that's intriguing, but I think that's intriguing.
Right? I mean, yeah, it's intriguing. So Joker 2K999 wants to know E3 rumors, Jazz Rand.
E3 rumors. I don't know.
I haven't really thought about. I mean, I haven't. I'm going to be making a video soon enough about it, but I mean. Yeah, I really couldn't tell.
I haven't heard a huge amount of stuff. We've talked about some of the stuff that we're expecting.
Yeah, I'm expecting Ori 2 with the release date. I'm expecting Halo 6 to be revealed. I'm expecting Forza Horizon 4 to get unveiled and come out this year. I'm expecting a Gears of War spinoff to get announced.
My expectations are pretty low.
I'm going to say. Maybe in a month or maybe in a couple weeks we'll have more definitive E3 predictions. But
yeah, I think it's a little bit too early. I mean, we talked about Nier Automata. That I imagine that I'll probably get announced at E3, if anything. I don't know. There are some stuff, but I'm honestly not expecting a huge revolutionary E3 from Microsoft this year.
So
As I say, these things take time. So I'm going to be more interested in next year, personally. I could be completely wrong, and it could be amazing, but I'm not gonna. I'm not gonna put my name to that one.
so Tipsy Gamer wants to know if Forza Kart's really happening. I have no clue.
No, this is. I got asked about this by a couple of people this week. I've only heard rumors. I haven't heard anything concrete about this. The only thing that I think is more concrete is the Nier Automata thing. I don't know. Perfect Dark, I've heard nothing about, and that's a big rumor. Forza Kart thing, I've heard nothing concrete about, and stuff like that. Um, I just fresh out of rumors lately. And
Yeah, I mean, who knows? You know, like
they're pretty good at keeping it close to their chest. I mean, some of the things that are predicted in E3, new Elite controller. We saw that already leaked a little bit. It's called Codename Spider, I believe, and the new Elite controller won't have a battery door apparently, Rand. So
what?
yeah, you have to use it. Apparently, this is what I've heard. The new Elite controller will come with some kind of charge dock, and you won't be able to remove the battery, like the PS4 controller that you hate.
I don't
Sorry.
hate the PS4 controller. I just like,
Dude, that's what I heard. You hate the PS4 controller.
yeah.
You hate PS4, and you hate PS4 fans, and you want to kick PS4 fans' dogs. That's what I heard. Is that?
I don't know.
Any comment?
Someone just sent me a thing on N4G, and it says rumor Remedy Games is indeed working on Quantum Break 2.
Now, interestingly, I've heard a very vague rumor, which I don't believe. I've heard that Quantum Break isn't dead. I don't believe it. And I'll tell you why I don't believe it. Because if I start believing Quantum Break 2 is real and it's not real, I'm going to be sad. I have heard this rumor that Quantum Break isn't dead. I have
I
heard
mean, I heard the same, but it's unbelievable. But I mean, if that's the case, that would speak to them trying to
money talks,
build...
right? And even if Remedy and Microsoft had bad blood after Quantum Break for whatever reason, Remedy are a studio that rely on third party money. If Microsoft says to them, right, we want to make Quantum Break 2, here's all the money you need, they'll take it, because it's good business.
Well, so Quantum Break wouldn't be multiplayer because Microsoft owns the IP. The thing is I believe they're working on 3 games. They have that Crossfire game that they're doing the campaign for P7, which is going to... Oh, you said, as you said in your article, that the big budget games are back on the menu at Microsoft. The money's there. They need content for Game Pass. And what if Quantum Break 2 is one of those things where it's like, all right, like, we have the budget now. We need the games for the stuff.
I'm completely on board with that.
Make Quantum Break 2.
Yeah. If they cut out the
TV?
the live action stuff that people didn't like that much, I personally thought it was really awesome. But I can understand why people didn't. They cut that out, drastically reduced the budget of the overall product. They made the combat a little bit more deeper, and make it a bit wider, less restrictively linear. Add more meat to it. It could be awesome. It was so close to true greatness. Probably, there's some amazing moments in that game that really had me like, oh my god, and I got really into the lore. I really love the performances, the characters, and I really love that game. And if a sequel's coming, bring it on. Alan Wake as well.
I want to believe, but I don't want to be let down, so I'm not going to believe it. Anyways,
same.
Jay Venue wants to know why Xbox doesn't buy exclusives for now and work on exclusives for next gen, use canceled IPs, bring back Connect, and make it like Alexa and games like Fru.
Bring back Connect, eh?
No. No, there's no bringing back the Connect. Please, God, it's dead. It's buried. Let it rest in peace. I do not want to see a Connect V3 come out. Because you want to know what? I don't want to see the damage control that people will have. Like, Kinect's back. Fuck the Kinect for the last time.
Kinect's awesome. I'm gonna throw that out there right now. Kinect is awesome, man. I'll tell you why. I'll tell you why.
I forgot we're on iTunes. I should. Oh, this one's gonna get an MA rating. But honestly, one last time, fuck the Kinect. It's a piece of shit.
Rand, I tell you why Kinect is awesome. Because I can lie in bed and scream at my TV and make it do things. That's why Kinect is awesome. I can't do that with Alexa yet, but I could do that with Kinect, and I can't now. So bring back Kinect. Bring it back.
No, Jez, no, I swear to God, if Kinect comes back, I will put out a video that's literally just me going freaking crazy. No. Why would you want Kinect? I don't understand. There's not a single.
I want to talk to my TV.
There's not a single redeeming feature that it has.
I'm lonely. I want to talk to my TV. Let me talk to my TV, Brad.
No. I'd much rather have a Barbie Battle Royale game than Kinect come back.
That'd be pretty cool. Don't let Cliffy B hear that.
Yeah, I know. Cliffy might do something.
Just start licensing Barbie Battle Royale. That'd be pretty badass, actually.
Hell yeah, it would be.
Like Lollipop Chainsaw, but Battle Royale with Barbies with chainsaws. Man, maybe I should work for Microsoft and make exclusive. They'd all have chainsaws and fishing.
Let's see. Kinect.
You got really mad about that,
dude. I don't. I truly hate. I truly despise what they tried doing, and I hate the fact that Microsoft thought it appropriate to build an entire console around it. And the worst part is I saw the schmucks damage controlling it every single day on Twitter about how it was amazing. Get the fuck out of here.
I liked it.
No.
Why am I not allowed to like it? Why am I not allowed to voice control my TV? Alexa's telling pretty well.
I'll give you the voice controls. But I'm talking about the thing I buy a console for, which is playing the games.
I like Blue Estate for Kinect 2 as well.
Yeah.
That game where you shoot things. I thought that was cool. Mainly because there was like nudity in it.
All right. Let me look for some other questions.
This is going to be an 18 rated on.
I know we're going to get an MA rating. This will be like. I hope you guys enjoyed the swearing on this one. This one probably get demonetized on YouTube too. I swore too much. Oh well. What am I going to do about it? J Love wants to know, Rand, why are preferred Xbox users choosing PS4 Pro by default? That is $1,000 for saying I got both. But in reality, PS4 users don't have to have an Xbox console, but Xbox users got to have a PS4. I mean, some people just want the best. You know, some people.
Man, you know what? I've got this dilemma right now too, because I've got a 4K TV and I've got an Xbox One X, and I only get a PlayStation 4 because I want to play God of War, Last of Us, and all the game and Bloodborne, and you know the games that I've missed out on. And I'm thinking like, do I get a PS4 Pro so I can experience them at their best, quite expensive, but I'm only going to use it for exclusives, or shall I get a PS4 and just use it for exclusives and accept the 1080p? Because it looks, you know, PS4 looks pretty good in 1080p as well. So what do? I got that dilemma as well.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. Some people just want the best, so they like, hey, I want the premium.
Some people got
console.
cash to burn.
Yeah,
Ram's got cash to burn.
I don't got cash to burn.
Dude, you're a YouTube celebrity now.
Oh yeah, total YouTube celebrity. Yeah, 15,000 subs though. That was very nice. Roll on 30,000, right? Jez was worried that I would forget about him when I become as popular as PewDiePie and Markiplier. Like, you still podcast with me, right? Like, I'll take you everywhere, Jez. We'll go to those parties together, buddy.
Oh, bless him.
Yeah. I don't know. I mean, like some people are more than happy with one console, whether it's the PlayStation or Xbox. Some people just don't care about exclusives like we care about exclusives, so they don't feel the need of owning every console. Everybody plays for different reasons, and everybody wants, you know, someone may not want a Pro, but somebody, I don't know, like there's so many different reasons, you know, for why people do what they do. I mean, some people just want the best, but they don't want PC gaming. I don't know. Like, I have a Pro and I have a Xbox One X. I'm sure there's plenty of other people out there that have that, but I'm sure there's plenty of other people that have just a PS4 Slim and an Xbox One X S. I mean, you know what I mean? So they just want to play the games. Let's see. Any more questions? Or are we finished? Are we finished? Or are we done? A first-person Gears game, says Damien D.
I would love that.
That'd be kind of interesting.
I think Resident Evil kind of proved that changing the view can breathe life into a franchise. Resident Evil 7, sorry. Did I say 4? I remember 7. But yeah. I think I'd love a first-person Gears, but it'd have to be a spin-off. I think. I don't know. Maybe a game where you could switch viewpoint.
A third-person Halo and a first-person Gears.
There are aren't there third-person game modes in Halo
5? You can switch to third person depending on maybe the item you're carrying. But dude, what if Microsoft allowed a mix-up between Halo and Gears? Gears came into the Halo universe, or Halo came into the Gears universe. Marcus Phoenix meeting up with Master Chief and the car from Forza.
We don't know. Well, I'm sure there is lore out there, like books and stuff, but I don't really know a great deal about Gears of War's lore. Like, does Earth exist in that universe? Is it our universe?
I have no clue. I've read one Halo book. I didn't read anything about Gears. I don't know. I mean, would it be a cool crossover? Probably. Would it? I don't know. Like, don't go around saying like this is confirmed. I was just like, hey, wouldn't it be cool? I don't know. Yeah.
No, I don't know. It might be terrible.
So, I don't know. Do you want to end the show there, Jez?
Yeah, man.
All right. So, thank you guys for watching. Hit that like button for me swearing. I know I don't really swear that much, but I did quite a lot.
Makes you mad.
Connect does make me mad. Hit that like button if you like to hear me swear. I'm sorry if anybody, little kids, are listening to this, like on iTunes or elsewhere. I apologize for making your ears bleed.
Nah, console fanboys are all grown.
Yeah, well, Connect makes me angry. You know what I mean? Yeah. So, Jez, the description for your Twitter is in the link for your Twitter.
You're so mad about Connect, you've forgotten how to talk.
Yeah, the Jez's link to his Twitter is always in the description of the podcast. Make sure you follow him so you can see what he's doing in the articles he's writing on Windows Central. Do you have anything else that you're working on anytime soon that'll be coming out?
Well, it's Build 2018 next week, Microsoft's big developer conference thing. So I'll be working on that next week, which will be of no interest to anyone on this show. So no, probably not. There's nothing gamerish happening.
Right. As for me, as always, I'll be dropping videos usually every single day. I'm actually be switching soon to Adobe Pro, so I'm going to get rid of Windows Live Movie Maker.
Wait, you're getting Premiere Pro?
Yeah, because I'm a student, so I can actually get it for $20.
Oh,
like all that stuff. So,
I'll teach you Premiere Pro. I love it.
Yeah, so I'm going to be doing Premiere Pro. I'm also going to be ditching how I record. I'm going to try to be a professional YouTuber and actually put like backing music, so it's not just my voice and stuff. Like cool stuff coming to the channel. You know what I mean?
All right.
Always looking to improve. But thank you guys for watching here on YouTube. Thanks for all the support, all the likes, even all the dislikes, all the comments, all the super chats. It means a lot. Thanks to you guys listening on iTunes and SoundCloud and Google Play. We appreciate it. This video will be up, or the audio will be up in a couple days as we normally do it. And we'll see you next week for another show where I'm not going to talk about Connect ever again. Hopefully, I swear to God, Microsoft, you better not come out with Connect 3. Later.